Well, that's interesting, right? So that's got a little counterintuitive. You think about it and you say, okay, well, it actually is even more important that you get it right because you don't get as many at bats, right? It's as simple as that. And if you mess
Yeah.
up the order, that could really hurt you downstream. So I know you look at things as a system and you don't just look at the production floor. So and that's something that we've been, talking about, writing about for a long time as well. We see that importance to really look at a business as a system. So what are some of the kind of critical path obstacles for people to really say, I'm going to take a step back? That planning, you emphasize that as just step 1P, right? Planning.
Yeah.
What is that keeps people from, because it seems almost obvious, like, well, of course you got to start there and think about your business system. I mean, it seems obvious, right? But it isn't.
No.
And so what are the obstacles that keep people from planning first, from thinking of their overall business as a system? What is it that keeps them from doing that?
I mean, my opinion and what I've seen time and time again, it's the firefighting mentality, right? Kind of how we started the conversation where, hey, I don't really have time to do any of this stuff, and I used to make the kind of joke and argument. It's like, well, we have time to do it twice, right? But we don't have time to do it right the first time. Like, how is that possible? How do we make excuses to say, we could just, we'll get back to that. We'll redo it, whereas if we just did some things with intentionality and we utilize that as our base. So I talk a lot about, plan, do, review, revise, repeat, right? And you hear people talk about plan, do, check, act, and all these other things. And there's similar thought processes, but, the reason I like the plan, do, and then the last three, review, revise, repeat, right? Because that to me is telling people and letting them know that, when I talk about planning, when I talk about people, process, technology, when I talk about each one of those things, I'm not talking about spending 6 months creating the perfect plan. I'm saying, let's just give this thing a little consideration. Let's bring in some people. Let's talk about this. Let's put our line in the sand. That's our plan. Then we do, right? Let's go execute whatever it is that we've kind of outlined. And then the last three, review, revise, repeat, right? Come back. It's a constant cycle. So I think people avoid it thinking that we're talking about creating some monster strategic perfect plan. And that's just not reality. There's too many variables within what we do on any given day, but you do have to start with intentionality instead of just starting with the firefighting mentality and, kind of, all right, I got this problem. I'm going to deal with this real quick. And then I'm going to get back to that. It's really difficult to move the needle and to grow your business in a sustainable fashion when you are just constantly moving from fire to fire to fire to fire.